This video is sponsored by Squarespace, the all-in-one website platform. I can't imagine spending life just doing one thing, one hobby, one job, one art. You're much more than that. And only once you stretch out your arms and explore everything that life has to offer, only then do you realize the potential you're sitting on. I know there's the jack of all trades, master of none trope, which people use as a jab against being a generalist. And you know what? I agree with them. If you do want to become very successful nowadays in your career, it tends to help when you hyper-specialize and become very good at one specific niche field, and then obviously rise to the top. But are you defined by that? Are you a part in this big machine? I mean, some people say yes to that, but they're probably not watching this video. If you are still here, you have to go. I'm giving you a chance. But look, no, seriously, if you're like me, then it's simpler than that. You just want to explore a lot of different things. You want to do business, you want to do sports, gym, you want to paint things, you want to be creative, you want to explore every skill and every hobby that is available to you. Everything that is interesting and adds some excitement to life. That is the Renaissance man, the polymath, the person who is truly well-rounded in mind, body, and soul, who sees education not necessarily as a means to an end, but as a sacred duty in itself. Think Da Vinci, think Benjamin Franklin, think many of those ancient Greeks who we still talk about 2,000 years later. They didn't let a field constrain them and, define who they were. Instead, they just followed their curiosity and saw where it led them. And they became something great because of it. Their greatness followed naturally. We may never get to their level, but that's not really the point. The point is to set your sights high, enjoy the journey, and at the end, you'll have a set of skills that you can be really proud of. But look, you're busy. And unlike some of them, you don't have rich royal sponsors to fund your creative work. You have to squeeze these things into an already packed week where you have to deal with work, school, college, family, all these other responsibilities. This is a 3-hour daily system to help you get there. 1 hour for training the body, 1 hour for absorbing great ideas, and the third hour for creative outpour. It's so simple, but it can quite literally define your whole life. And look, you might be watching and thinking, man, shut up, what are you on about? Who has 3 hours to spare? Fair. You're totally right. 3 hours is a generous ask. And the thing is with this, you don't have to do 3 hours. You can scale this up. You can scale this down. You can do, if 1 hour of each thing is too much, you can do half an hour of each, which adds up to 90 minutes. And you can even squeeze that down to less and less depending on how much time you have that day, that week. It's adaptable. And every good system is versatile because life is, it's unexpected. It throws things at you and you don't know what's coming. There are no hard rules in how you want to improve yourself. And the only way you'll catch me saying the opposite is if someone's pointing a gun at me behind the camera, which they aren't now, but yeah, you get the point. The biggest tragedy of the intellectual world is that people are quick to neglect their health. There's people out there who research, who read, who produce amazing work, but it all happens at a desk, sitting down too long, not exercising, not getting enough sunlight, and that is a dangerous path to tread. I'm speaking from the heart here because a while ago I had a back injury that wasn't that bad, but it stopped me from lifting in the way I wanted to. And such a tiny thing like that still made me miserable. And then I really understood and realized just how important health is for your well-being, your mental well-being as well. Your body is the vessel that carries all of your knowledge and potential. And if you mistreat it, you're going to suffer. If not now, then down the line. Besides, it's very hard to learn if you feel like shit. If your hormones are out of whack, you're tired, you're lethargic, you're sad, how can you expect then to sit down and have a positive outlook to learning? It's just really difficult and it's a pointless crutch on yourself. For many of us, it's like a cloak over our heads. We have no idea how bad the issue is until it's lifted and we see just what we were missing before. So if you eat properly, if you exercise often, if you have a good sleep schedule and you get some sunlight, I mean, your problems aren't going to go away just like that, but you at least give yourself a fair foundation to start from. Many of the great Renaissance men respected their body, and they worked hard to see its full beauty and ability. For example, Plato was a talented wrestler. The name we know him as today is not his real name. It was actually a nickname given to him by Ariston, his wrestling coach, in reference to his broad, strong shoulders. Theodore Roosevelt, who's one of my personal favorite modern Renaissance men, he was a great boxer. And I know he did rowing, tennis, he hiked a lot. And unsurprisingly, as the cowboy president, he was a great horse rider. Also, apparently Da Vinci was a great athlete too. He was great at fencing, swimming, and I think also horse riding. So for 1 hour a day, exercise. I personally like the predictability of a gym routine. I don't care for competing. I don't care for, PRs or shredding to like some stupid body fat percentage. I just like it because it makes me feel energetic and comfortable in my own skin. I also started running more, and that shit is horrible. That is torture. But there is no better bliss than when you return home and finish the run. And if you used to be a fat kid like me, then you know that good cardio just makes you feel more confident and free. You don't have to worry about getting out of breath after, playing sports with your friends or running up a flight of stairs. It's just night and day difference, and you feel genuinely happier in your everyday life. But you should do whatever you love. Maybe you like the social element of a group sport, like football, or maybe you want something solo that's more technical, like archery, calisthenics, that sort of thing. Or maybe you love the thrill of fighting. Could be anything. If you're not sure what gives you the fizz, then I'd recommend trying lots of different things and seeing what excites you. And bonus points if you can bring a friend, because it makes it so much easier and much less intimidating. Near the end of this video, we're going to talk about our number 3, which is creation. Arguably the most important part of this whole system. It's also the reason I'm glad that Squarespace sponsors these videos, because they make creation easier. Squarespace takes web design, they take email marketing and all the business tools and combine it into one easy to understand platform. I know nothing about coding or web development, but even then I was able to use their drag and drop editor to create a homepage in my style in just a few hours. And if that is still intimidating to you, then they have this AI website builder tool, which does all of the heavy lifting for you. All you have to do is give it some creative direction, and it will build a website based on those suggestions. I use my website mainly to showcase my past newsletter entries, but you can use it to show off the product you sell, the services you offer, even paid courses and things like that, if you're into the whole online business game. Or maybe you just want to share your creativity with the world, and that is possible too. I'm also a sucker for the analytics page, which gives you all the info you need to make improvements and to understand where and how people are finding you. If you go to squarespace.com, then you can use their free trial to design your own website. And once you feel confident to make it live, you can then go to squarespace.com/Odysseus and use code Odysseus to get 10% off of your first website or domain. So do have a look. I think you'll like it. For the next hour of this program, I want you to consume stuff. It's that simple. But I see you getting comfortable there. Stop. Because it's not an excuse to binge Netflix. It's not mindless consumption. It's not all the book talk slop books. It's more than that. It's different. Although there is room for that in life. It's okay to do every now and then. Don't get me wrong. When I say consume stuff here, I mean insightful work that either teaches you, inspires you, or gives you what you need for the next step, which is creation. It pisses me off when people in the general self-improvement community talk badly of consumption as a whole, because there is nuance and it's extremely important to mention it. It's like, yeah, don't binge junk food, don't watch Netflix for 10 hours straight, and don't do drugs, don't lobotomize yourself with weed. It's like, yeah, whoa, groundbreaking, we know, but you can't lump everything into that one box, because not all content is made equal. Articles, documentaries, books, video essays, even good films, movies if you're American, or music, good music. These all enrich your life in a way that the other content doesn't. The, slop content. You are what you eat. And if you eat high quality, fresh, nutritious foods, your character is going to reflect that. You're going to probably feel happier and more energetic and just with a higher spirit overall. It's exactly the same with the stuff that you watch and read on a daily basis. If you consume greatness, greatness comes out. Besides, nothing great ever came in a vacuum. You didn't get writers and philosophers who went into their room, just sat there in the dark, Ooh, that's it. That's my next book. It didn't happen like that. They had to read great works themselves. They had to listen to interesting people and, learn from them. And they had to experience life for themselves. And all of that comes together for them to then make interesting, exciting, and original work that is now what we consider masterpiece. This is true for everything creative, whether you're a poet, a painter, a video game developer. You have to know what greatness looks like before you can produce it yourself. And you have to consume great things to create great things. That in itself is where originality comes from. People take elements from many different works, they mix them, they form new connections, they add their own spice to it. And then suddenly that becomes something original with its own complete character that's different from the rest. But it is a balancing act. That consumption can very quickly turn into two things that are a bit more sinister. The first is analysis paralysis, where you feel like you can't make the next step forward until you've learned something else, and then something else, and something else, and something else. And it just becomes this endless cycle of being too afraid to begin something. And that is a little bit similar to the next danger, which is mental masturbation. And we talk about that all the time here. That describes when you are consuming and it makes you feel like you're doing something productive, like you're moving forward in your goals and you're working in line with your values. In a sense, you are. It's half of the process. But is it enough? Is it enough to just consume endlessly, even if it is insightful? And I say no, because in the next step, you'll see how it can be directed outwards. That is where hour 3 comes in, which is creation. And it's going to save us from these dangers. Creation, it's a beautiful thing. In the last hour, which was consumption, we were taking in stuff. And creation is when we flip that switch and now produce something into the world to make it real and tangible. Creation balances out consumption so perfectly, because not only do you get a chance to do something with everything that you've taken in, but it also adds a sense of meaning to everything you've consumed, because now you're doing it for a purpose. It adds up to something higher than itself, rather than just ending there once you've finished the video, once you've finished the book. Now it has something to live for, let's say. It's a way for you to discover who you are and to really slow down in life. And of course, at the end, you get a skill that you can proudly hold under your belt, and a skill that will serve not only yourself, but the whole world and others around you. It's a really valuable thing to be competent. And what's best here is that you're the boss. There's a million ways to create out there, a million mediums to do it from, and only you can find that. I have no idea. I don't know you. And it really is a personal decision. My main outlet, of course, is writing and making videos. I love how diverse it is, how many different routes you can take within that craft. I even remember making these little fact file style posts on Instagram on whatever I was reading at the time. So I guess I've always had that urge to write. So it makes sense to follow that path more seriously. And, the same is true for you. Have a look at what keeps bringing you back, what keeps attracting you, and what, you just have that intrinsic deep love for. And you can do anything. There's art, there's animation, there's programming, there's woodwork, design, writing, music, so many different things. And so many niche things too, like Warhammer, ham radio. That's a thing, ham radio. Does that count as creative? I don't know. In the rare chance that you are watching this and you're into ham radio, please tell me about your hobby. I need to learn more about it. I've always respected that from afar, ham radio. So yeah, let me know. Okay, so back on track. There's a lot of things out there, and it's there for you to find. You just have to do some exploring and have some patience with it. Again, I recommend trying many different things just to get a feel for what it's like. And to be honest, that's kind of unrealistic. How can you try hobbies that require you to buy equipment? Okay, well, you could go to courses like intro classes, but more realistically, you might just end up watching videos of people in that hobby. So you can hopefully see some of the struggles, some of the what the community's like, and some of the successes. Like, what does it look like when you get good at this hobby? For example, I got into cooking because I loved watching cooking videos online on YouTube. And the same with fragrances recently. I enjoy watching people talk about them, and it encouraged me to get started, and now I love them myself. It's like crack. It won't be a breeze though. I'm not selling you a lie here. It's going to be hard. You're going to feel imposter syndrome. You're going to get pissed off when things go wrong, which they will. And you're going to realize that there's a lot of hard work behind the romantic face that we're used to seeing online. It's just how it is. It's reality. And no matter where you are, skill-wise, beginner or expert, you're going to be pissed off at when things go wrong, and you're going to find struggle. It's real, it's tough, but hopefully the fulfillment of the journey and the skills you learn completely outweigh all the struggle and make it, a piece of history. And, after some time, you realize, damn, I'm kind of good at this actually. Before you even saw it coming, you now are the one inspiring others and giving advice to people who want to, get to your skill level maybe. It always reminds me of those pianists if you see a piano in a public place and they're playing it like a train station, imagine all the hard work leading up to that moment where you're playing this beautiful piece in public, people are around you recording, you're making the kids smile, you're making the adults smile, everyone's happy and enjoying your music because you sacrificed a lot to get there. You practiced a lot, you went through a lot of struggle, and in the end, in a weird, romantic way, it was all worth it because of the magic of that experience. I always think of that specific situation when there is struggle in any of my hobbies. This video is a proof of that, because if you're an old timer, if you're an OG on the channel, you know that this video is a remaster of an old one I did, which on the same topic. I felt like it could use an update, some better production, whatever. I read the script for that to, see what I was talking about. Oh my goodness. It's so shit. It's cringy. It was cringy to read, and it was like, man, you're better than this. And you are, because that was, 8 months ago? You are literally better than that. Okay, so in simple words, you start shit and you get better. But you can only get better if you're willing to be shit at some point in your life. It's much easier to go through hardship when you're aware of it and you're aware that it's only temporary. So that's 1 hour of training, 1 hour of consuming great work, and 1 hour of creating something that you can be proud of. That's the system. Again, you can scale it up and down however much you want. And if you don't do it every day, it's not the end of the world, because you won't. Things happen, life happens. It's a good framework to follow generally throughout your week. As always, I'd love to hear your thoughts, and especially your hobbies. Like, what are you up to? What are you creating? What are you working on? What is your obsession? Because we don't often get a chance to share that stuff to anyone, really, even in our public life. So, feel free to comment down below or email. What do you do? Like, what are you passionate about? What excites you? What do you wake up for every morning? All these things. And you'll find some people who are into that stuff as well, I'm sure. And I really appreciate you watching. I'm grateful for it, truly. It means a lot. Thank you.